show you a method for solving simultaneous equations. It's a elimination method. First thing you do is simply write the equations out just without the x, y, and z in this sort of block form. So the first line, 2x 3y minus z equals -4. You just write as 2, 3, -1, and -4. So in other words, you just remove the repetitive task of writing x, y, z equals each time. So each line can be accurately recorded as just the list of 4 numbers. Just make sure the x's, the y's, and the z's are lined up. And in the last line, the last row here, there is no y, so that's why there's 0 there. So the first thing you do is you multiply each of these by a different number, well, most likely a different number, to make all these the same, this first column the same, except that the second and the third one should just be a negative of the top one. So if I was to multiply this by 3, this by -2, and this by -6, what would I get? On the top, I'd get 9. Sorry, I would not. I'd get 6, 9, -3, and -12. And then multiplying this by -2, I'd get -6, -4, -4, -28. And then the last one be -6, 0, 18, and then 13 times -6, so a negative by negative is a positive 78. So that's the first step, is you try to get the first column looking like this. Number, 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 but the first one's positive and the second and third one are negative. And then what you do is you drop the first row into the second and the third. So all numbers in the first row get added into the second and the third row. So the first row stays the same, 6, 9, -3, -12. But all these numbers get added to the second and the third. So 6 added onto -6 is a 0. 9 added onto -4 is a 5. That added onto that is a -7. And then that's a -40. And then again, the first one dropped onto the bottom one. That's a 0. 9 and 0 is 9. -3 and 18 is 15. And then that would be 66. Good, good. Then you do the same thing again, nearly, for the second row. But this time you don't have to do it for all 3. You just have to focus on these 2. And again, just like before, you want them to be the same. The top one to be a positive and the rest to be a negative. So I can achieve that if I was to multiply this by 9 and this by -5. So I'd have 6, 9, -3, -12, 0, 45, -63, and then what's that? -3, 6, oh, isn't it? I believe so. And then that would be 0, -45, -75. Yep. And then 66 times -5, that's -330. And then once again, you do the same trick of dropping this onto this. So what happens? Well, the first 2 are unaffected, 6, 9, -3, -12, and then 0, 45, -63, and -360. And then the bottom one is 0, 0. Okay, and then -63, -75. That's -138. And then -360, -330. That is -690. And you're practically done at this stage. Now you might say, wait, hang on, how can I be done? Well, look at what you've turned the problem into. You've now made the equations this. 6x plus 9y minus 3z equals -12. Fine. But then the second equation is 45y minus 63z equals -360. And then the last equation is -138z equals -690. Oh, isn't that great? We can easily solve for z. We get z is 5. And then with that, we can sub in and get the y. Let me see what the y is. Minus 360 plus 63 times 5 divided by 45. That's minus 1. And then you can sub that into the first equation to get the x. Let's see what that is. Minus 12 plus 3 times z, which is 5, minus 9 times minus 1 divided by 6, which is 2. 2 minus 1 and 5. And that's it. That's the solution. And that method, that structure works the same every time. That is, you have your block and you try to get these three the same, but with a different sign on the top, so plus, minus, minus. And then that one collapses down on the other two. And then you repeat the process here, again with opposite signs. And that one collapses in on that one. And you'd be left with this nice triangular system at the end, which makes it very easy to solve then. So, I don't know. It's an alternative way to do these simultaneous equations. Maybe you like it, maybe you think it's terrible, but there you go. Let me just double check that answer. 2 minus 1 and 5.